Release the Kraken!
Welcome back, fellow game designers. In our last one, we went ahead and oriented the joints of our character. So now we're going to bind our skeleton to our skin. So I'm going to go down and find the body. I'll turn that on. Let's take the root joint, select the body, and we want to go up and do skin, come down to bind skin, grab the options. And then for our settings, let me go ahead and just make sure that these are reset to default here. They should be set to joint hierarchy for bind to. For the binding method, this all depends on the situation, but for a character that has no open parts, geodesic voxel is usually very good. So I'm going to go down to geodesic voxel. That basically creates a bunch of 3D pixels or voxels inside of the radius of the joint to the skin, and wherever they touch, that becomes joined to that bone. Okay, and we're going to go down to max influences. These are default. So for max influences, that's all going to depend on what you're trying to animate. If you're doing a robot and you want things to be very specific without any sharing, then you would do set it to 1. But on like a person, like if I bend my wrist, some of the skin on my arm gets pulled by the bend of my wrist. So it shares influence. Okay. Typically on like a person, 5 to 7 is very common. You can go higher or lower, but usually 5. Luigi's pretty simple, so I think keeping it at 5 is going to be fine. And then I'll hit apply and close. Doesn't look like anything happened, but if we click off, you'll see that these are now color-coded. And if I grab a part of the body and I go to bend it, it bends pretty cool. We have our head. If we bend it, it's good. There's our neck joint. We also have the starting neck joint right around there. So we got the skin on the body attached. Now, it's not always going to be perfect. You're going to want to go through and make sure things are bending and moving correctly. You can see how the legs, think parts of the middle leg belong to it. You can see it's pulling. So that's something we'll have to fix during skin weighting. But go ahead and check all of your joints. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and attach things like the teeth and the eyebrows and stuff. Go ahead and check the jaw real quick. Make sure that that's totally natural, right? Kind of looks like the guy from what was that, Beetlejuice, when he stretched his face out. Right. One important note: do not ever move a joint because we don't know where to put them to go back. Okay. You can rotate them. You can see rotations are set to 0. That's okay. You can rotate all day because we know to get back to 0. But don't move a joint without a rig. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn the body off. And let's turn on the teeth. And I want the teeth here to be bound to this joint. So I'm going to hold Shift and select that joint. I don't need this teeth to ever flex because your jaw is a solid piece. It moves on an arc, but it doesn't do any bendy bend. So we just want that to the joint. We'll go up to our skin and bind options. We're going to change this from bind to. Instead of hierarchy, we're going to go down to selected joint. So only one joint here because that's the only one selected. You can see that in the hierarchy, I have the teeth, and then the only joint that's actually selected here is the jaw. For the binding method, we don't want to use geodesic voxel here because this joint is actually outside of the body. So if we were to hit apply, it wouldn't actually work. So we want to make sure that we set that from geodesic voxel to closest in distance. And then down here, we are going to do the number of influences. We're going to set that down to 1 because our jaw does not, it moves on an arc, but it does not do a bendy bend. So that should be good. We'll hit apply. And if we move this, it works. We don't have any joints for the tongue. You can make some if you like. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to cheat and bind the tongue to here as well. So I'll grab the tongue, I'll grab back here, and then I will just hit apply. So now the jaw and the tongue will move together. If we were focused on having very accurate mouth and tongue movement, we would put a skeleton in the tongue. For the upper jaw, this one should not move. So that one is going to be bound to the head. But which head joint? Well, up to you. Typically, I just do this one. So this guy, shift select the head joint, and then select the joints. We want closest in distance, and then max influence of 1. Apply. So now as I move this, that should move with the head. But this jaw should move independently. Let's go ahead and turn on the eyebrows and the mustache. Those can also be bound to the main head joint. So I'll grab the mustache and I'll grab the eyebrows. Now if you want the eyebrows to move independently and make some facial gestures, then you can certainly add bones here and then attach them to the head joint. I'm not going to do that, but you certainly can if you like. So I'll just grab these, shift select the head, select the joint, closest in distance, 1 influence, apply, and those will go with the rest of the head. Very good. Buttons. Buttons. What shall we do with the buttons? So I'll turn the buttons on and the body. The buttons are technically supposed to be attached to the overalls. And if I were to move this arm, you'll see that the coveralls move, but the button doesn't. So we can handle this a few different ways. We can pick the joints that will influence the button, or we can combine the button back to the body and then deal with it later. If we select, say, this joint, this one, and the button, come up to skin and then bind, we'll set the max influence to 3. We'll do select the joint, closest in distance, and then apply. And let's see how this goes. Looks to be pretty good. Button is relatively in good position. It clips through a little bit on the collar over here. I think that'll do. We'll clean that up a little bit later. Let's go ahead and do the same thing on this side. Right now the body's in the way. Go ahead and just turn that off. So spine 3, and then here and there, and this guy. And if you look, you can see that spine 3 is selected, collar and shoulder are selected, and the button. Skin, bind options. We'll do selected joints, closest in distance, and the max influence will be 3 because we have 1 for each joint. And then apply and close. So if we turn the body, it looks pretty good. Okay. That's a bit weird. It shouldn't sink into the body like that, but we'll have to fix it a little bit later. But I think that will get us pretty close for government work. And the next one, we're going to go through the process of weighting the joints. That way things bend exactly how we want them to. So stay tuned, and I shall see you next time. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my channel. Misty and I both thank you. If you enjoyed the video you just watched, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Also, we are at 1,500 subscribers. Woo! That is awesome possum. Rocket Flip is out if you have not taken a look at my latest devlog. It is in open beta testing, so if you want to grab a copy and test it out, see how it plays, leave some feedback, it really helps me out. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I shall see you next time.